Hey everyone, welcome back to another video, and in today's video we have this 2022 Lexus UX and we're going to do the Taillight Tint installation for this vehicle. So as you can see, this is how it looks before doing the installation on the taillights, and this is how it looks after the installation. So the tint has PPF properties, which means it will protect the lenses from yellowing over time, as well as protect it from any small scratches or any road debris that might hit the lens. Link for the product will be in the description below. But with that being said, let's get started with the installation video. So the tools you need in order to install the tint kit will be Slip Solution, Tack Solution, a heat gun, squeegee, and a microfiber towel. And a step-by-step guide in order to create the two solutions will be in the description below. So before starting with the installation, we need to make sure we prep the tail lights. So to prep them, all you need is your Slip Solution. And spray the Slip Solution all around the tail light. And with a clean microfiber towel, start removing any contaminants that the tail light may have. To start the installation, we're going to start with this middle section of the tail light first. So you want to grab your Slip Solution and apply Slip Solution all over the tail light here on the trunk, and apply Slip Solution to the tint film. And make sure you apply it all over the tint. That way you're able to move the film around. So now just place the film, that way it stays on the panel and we could work on either side. So with this one, we just need to align the tint of this section to the edge here. Okay, so once you place the film, you need to start from one edge first. So with this one, you need to make sure you align this section of the tint to this section of the tail light. So apply Slip Solution just in case the film got dry, and we're able to align the film. So align it right to the edge, make sure everything's good. So like this, make sure it's aligned. Once you have it aligned, lift the film and apply Tack Solution underneath the film. Keep it aligned and then spray it on top. Make sure you hold it in position, and with your squeegee, start tacking it down. And then since we aligned it, everything else should just fall into place around this area. So just squeegee it to tack it down. And now we work on this section. So if you see here, there is a small finger around this area. So to remove this finger, we're going to need to stretch the film and make sure as we're stretching to align it to this section of the tail light. So lift it carefully, apply Slip Solution, and just bring it down slowly. So that should be good. And now hold it in place and start tagging it down. Okay, and now that this section is secured, now we can move on with the rest. We'll come back afterwards once we stretch the film and align it on this section here. So now we just continue where we left off. Make sure everything's still aligned. So for this section here, let's just rinse and repeat the same steps how we did it on that edge. So lift the film and apply Slip Solution. And just make sure you stretch it and align it to the edge right here. So it's a light stretch, you don't have to do too much stretching. It's just as long as you reach this edge here. So now that we have it aligned, lift the film, hold it in place and apply Tack Solution. Place it back down, make sure to keep it aligned, and then apply Tack Solution on top. And then same steps, hold it and tack it down to secure it in position. And now we could work around this middle section here. So apply Tack Solution. And the reason we're applying Tack Solution is that way we can remove any solution that's behind the film. So it's basically done. The only thing you just need to make sure is if there's any fingers coming across the film, apply heat and remove them. And if there's any water bubbles behind the film, wherever you see them, just make sure you squeegee them out before you seal the entire film. So grab your microfiber towel, just clean off the tail light. That way you're able to see if there's any water bubbles. So there's some here. Just fingers on this section. And you just rinse and repeat until everything is clean. And then we would apply heat to seal the entire panel. And now we move on to applying heat on the panel. Okay, so the final step before we move on to the next section is applying heat on the panel. So just apply Tack Solution on the film, and we're going to use our heat gun and apply heat all over the film. That way we help the adhesive activate faster and also help remove any small fingers that are around the edges. And our microfiber towel will help us absorb any solution that's still behind the film. And once you finish this part of the process, we can move on to the next step. Okay, so now we're moving on to this section. So first we're going to install the lower half here. So this one's a 3-piece installation. So we're starting off with this lower section first. So apply slip solution onto the lens and slip solution to the tint film. And start by placing the film and aligning it to this edge first. So once you have it aligned, tack this section down to secure it. So to tack it down, use your tack solution. Apply a good amount around this area and on top of the film. Hold it in position and start tacking it down. And now we just need to make sure everything stays aligned and stretch the film just a little bit to reach to this edge. So do a light stretch, hold it in position and then tack it down. So stretch it here first to this edge and then stretch it upward to reach here and then tack it down. And if you need to lift the film in order to stretch it, you could apply slip solution. That way it helps you stretch it to the top section here. Hold it in position, apply tack solution and start tacking it down. Okay, and before we go on with the next installation, we need to make sure we seal this edge. The reason being is because when we install the next piece, which goes around this area, it will overlap just a little bit with this one. So we need to make sure this is not lifting, because if it lifts over time, it's gonna make both this tint and the tint you apply on top to lift. So we need to make sure this entire section is tacked down. So to tack it down, apply tack solution. Grab your heat gun and apply heat around the edge and then use your microfiber towel to tack it down. Once you finish sealing this top edge, make sure you apply heat on the lower edge here as well. That way we seal the tint. And now we can move on with the next section. Okay, so now we're moving on to the next installation. So just apply slip solution on the lens once again, and slip solution on the tint film. And make sure you align the film like this, so it should just fall into place. These two strips, the first one will go on the top section right here. The next one will cover this section here. So remember, the film does overlap just a little bit, so that's why we needed to make sure this is sealed before we install the next piece. So now that we have it aligned, start applying tack solution all over the film. Keep it aligned and then tack down this area. So hold it in position and tack it down. So once we have it secured, we can move on to the next section. So just make sure everything is still aligned and tack it down. And make sure you remove all of the solution that will be trapped behind this section here, because if you leave any solution here and it dries up, you're going to have a big water bubble. And if you have that marked, then it's just going to stay there and damage the film. So you need to make sure that everything is completely tacked down and you remove all the solution before you install the next piece. And now with this section, lift it carefully, keep it aligned, and tack it down as well. And now we just need to make sure we apply heat to seal all this edge that's still lifting. And then once we finish applying heat, we can move on with the next step. So to seal it, apply tack solution, use your heat gun to go all around the film, and your microfiber towel to help it tack down. Okay, and now we can move on with the final piece, which is on the inside of the taillight here. So for this last piece here, it's just making sure you align it to where it's covering everything that remains. So you could do this as a dry installation, but if you do, just make sure you don't leave any air bubbles behind the film, and then just cover this section. And just help it with your finger to tack it down, and that's pretty much it. Like I said, just make sure you don't leave any air bubbles behind the film, and that's it. It covers everything, the last piece here. And now we move on to the final step, which is post heating the entire panel. Okay, so once you finish installing the whole piece on the tail lights, the last thing to do would be to post heat. So to post heat, apply tack solution all over the tail light tint. And we're going to use our heat gun and apply heat all over the film to help activate the adhesive. That way it sticks better to the lenses. And we're going to use our microfiber towel in order to help absorb any solution that's still behind the film and just helping it tack down little by little. And then once you're done with this step, you're done with the installation. And if there's still any small fingers still popping out around the film, make sure to tack those down. Okay, so that concludes the installation video for the Taillight tints for the 2022 Lexus UX. We hope that this video helped you guys out with the installation. If it did, don't forget to drop a like on the video. Make sure you subscribe and turn on that notification bell. That way you don't miss any upcoming installation videos. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you in the next one.